Morning, budget travellers. Brady back with another video. Finally, we're across the road from the Shell at Hay, where I got fuel for the start end of day one on the Cameron Corner trip. We're going to get more into what this trip actually is going to be as we get along. But first, what have we been doing for the last 4 days? And there's a big grey elephant behind me that we need to address as well. Do we stay the budget adventure show because we've spent some money? But we'll go back. We'll do some spotlights, some bit of a recap on what the first couple of days of the trip were like. And as you'll see now, the the rest of the day is not looking too bright, but let's go back and have a look at the first destination on the trip. Rightio. I've had to. This is a manual set of scales, like your old weights, counterweights, your slide and rule, and that on the scales itself. So, because of the amount of blue ballast that's on there, I had to. I brought the wrong. You got to add a little bit extra weight to the counterweight. I just used my tripod. Unfortunately, forgetting how you do it, I used my tripod, then zeroed it instead of zeroing it without the tripod. But anyway, I had to take 600 kilos off. That's how much the scales were out to zero on. So the car for the van on the back, so the car plus ball weight was how do I do this? 2,850 kilos, 2.85 ton, which I got to check because I'm pretty sure the Colorado is only rated to 2.8. So some stuff will have to come out of the boot and go in the van because the van's only 1.5 tons, so that's well in. We've got a ball weight of 1.8 or 180 kilos, which would suit a van of 1.8 tons. So by the time I move some stuff from the car into the van, that'll nearly be 10-11% of the weight on the ball, so we shouldn't have any sway issues. And the car by itself sitting at 2310, which again, I think the tear of the Colorado 7's 2.4. So not only have we lost a heap of weight by having all the seats out, we haven't added more weight back in than what it tears. So, and that's with the 110 litre Frontier ARB tank under it. It's got 112 litres in it now instead of 70, plus 50 litres of water on the roof, the shit on the roof. So we're still well under GVM, but I just got to Google some figures and work out if we're right as a combination. But it's getting late on this Thursday night after a week of work. We're gonna hook the van back up now, go home, crack a beer, work out those numbers, throw some clothes in, and be ready to set off on the adventure tomorrow. So back to you, future Brad. Anyway, we watched the radar last night and made sure we're getting out of Carrathool or off the property there anyway before the rain approached, because that clay soil there, it's just as soon as it gets wet, it just sticks to everything, sticks to your tyres, sticks to your boots, makes you 6 inches taller, and it's not great to be around. You can't get traction in your car. As you might have seen, some of the other blokes had buses and that, two-wheel drive vehicles, so we needed to get out of there before it got wet, and luckily we did. So some of you would know This was originally going to be a Birdsville trip. I could post some photos up on the socials a couple of months ago. We're doing some pre-trip prep down the river and that, working out what was going to happen. And then two things happened. One, Queensland got a hell of a lot of water up there, all in 1 week, and even now, or even Easter Friday, Good Friday, seen a photo of the Inaminka Hotel underwater. Still, the Strzelecki track's closed, the Birdsville track's closed. So we had to do a bit of a plan B. Also that happened at that time was I went out and brought a caravan, Jayco Crosstrack, the little 13 footers, and started doing some figures. What's this bloke doing? Started doing some figures, and it wasn't going to be a hell of a lot more money fuel wise to tow it over west, so we decided to cut Birdsville and Inaminka off the trip. Saved us about 2,000 Ks, and we're going to spend a couple of days in the Flinders instead to make up for that time. Now I've got the midweek off between the Easter and the Anzac Day long weekends, which is good. So we're still heading west. Just filled up in hay. Took 70 litres, which is a little bit more than I expected. But then doing the calculations, and it's 17 litres to the 100 like I'd planned, so I must have buggered something up in the calculations. But we're just cruising along doing 100 km/h. It's cold, coldish, and as you might be able to hear, the rain's getting a little bit heavier now. There's no rain forecast for Mildura and further west, so we're probably just going to have this crap between Hay and Balranald, and if that's the case, then that's the case. They can get out of the system now. But looking ahead at the trip, 6 or 7 day trip. We've just had 3 days or 3 nights at Carrathool. Tonight we're going to try and get to Renmark. Depending on what the moisture there is like. If it's wet, we're just going to book into a caravan park if we can find one. If it's dry, we'll go and find a spot on the river, and and go from there. But then try and get across to Port Pirie and Port Augusta for the second night, and then it's up into the Flinders. I've got 2 campsites booked on 2 separate nights up there, so we'll get up and road train adventures. And there goes my mirror. I was doing that when I towed the van up to Mei as well last year. A little bit of string must be loose again. I need to get some tail mirrors. But anyway, I don't want to do a lot of talky this trip. I haven't worked out how I'm going to put this forward to you, if we're going to do a day of video, if I try and condense it a bit. Obviously, as I've said before, I'm mainly filming this for my own personal record and to show the family, reminisce and get nostalgic at in 5 years' time and think, let's go do it again. But how that product's going to come across to you, we'll wait and see. But yeah, I don't want to do a lot of talking, as I said. I just want to show you this country. So we'll do more of that, and I'll zip it until later on the day. here we are. We've just passed. Unfortunately, the border sign there was a little tiny pull off on the side of the road, and I had no time of stopping in time. I thought here at the quarantine station was where the actual border is, but it's across across the border about a couple of k's. So what are we doing here? I've only got a couple of tomatoes that were nearly off when I left home, so I used as much as I could. But all that stuff you're not allowed to take into South Australia from Victoria, Queensland, or which one did not do Victoria, Queensland, New South Wales. Blowing an absolute gale. You would have seen the footage of the dust storms when I left Mildura. It's absolutely gusting, which is not boding well with the van. I think we're burning through a little bit more fuel than we should be, but we'll find out when we get to Renmark. It's about 45k away from here, I believe, but I don't know how this bike's going to go. But we're slowly leaving some of the Malleeland, the hay plains, that sort of flat stuff behind, and just getting into these little hills now. So we're I think I mentioned earlier, we've still got an issue here with this side tyre. I can put my hand on the hub now, but to touch the disc or the drum, it's cooled down there now, but before it was hot. So I think I've got a sneak suspicion it's just the brakes need to be backed off a little bit more. I come in here without the e-brakes on that time, and they're a lot cooler than what they were when I come through Mildura, so something just to keep an eye on, keep a check out on. But apart from that, we're all good. But we're going to see what's happening down the road here. I've heard in the IHF that traffic's coming to a stop just up over the hill here, so I thought it was a good spot to duck into the bush, have a pee since there's no toilets here, and we'll get back in the car and keep on going, nearly to Renmark. Nearly there. An hour and 25 minutes. That was not planned. So now, while I was waiting in line, because it's 4 o'clock now, I don't want to be getting into town late and trying to find a free camp somewhere to stay the night on a reserve or something. We're booking a caravan park. This should be good. My first caravan park experience with a caravan. What can go wrong? heading home away from home. We got into Renmark about 4 o'clock. After that checking station, it was just handy that APCO, that Ampol was there and no one was using it, even though there was people talking on the radio that someone might run out of fuel. So I've done something I didn't think I was ever going to do. We'll get out of here for a look. I'm not going to talk, and I hope I don't get people to see me filming, but we're in a caravan park. And we are also editing what I've done today. But that way. Stupid thing. So I'll sit down again. Come here, camera. So yeah, that's what's happened today. They are packed in here like sardines. I thought, being the Monday, Easter Monday, everyone would be going home. I know Vic schools don't go back until Wednesday, but I think someone might have just lost an awning. It's pretty windy out there. There's families, there's kids everywhere. I don't want to film outside with that running around. I don't want to. We're in a world now of guilty until proven innocent. Some old dude in a caravan by himself walking around with a camera. That's someone's going to scream pedophile, I'm sure. So anyway, we're here. Just going to have some chicken soup for tea. Not going to do anything special. I was going to. I don't know what that was. I was going to do something a little bit better. There's some leftover roast pork and roast veggies in the fridge from camp oven we had Saturday night, but I'll save that for tomorrow night. What else is there? We're using a little bit more fuel than what I've estimated, so I need to rejigger some numbers. If this wind picks up or stays up tomorrow and we've got a headwind, we might have to go to plan S. RS, I don't know. We're getting pretty far in the plans right about now, so what else? I don't know what else. I'm tired. It's nearly 6 o'clock. I'm going to start cooking tea now and have a quiet beverage, which I have to time because the toilet's about half a kilometre away. Language when there's kids around. Why do people cram into caravan parks like this? It's a nightmare. But anyway, we'll leave it short. We'll see you in the next one, guys, or tomorrow, whatever I plan to do. But good night. Good morning, budget travellers, back here again. Next phase of the trip, we are just leaving the Big Four Renmark Riverfront Holiday Park. Wow, as you would have seen from that footage, they have got us jammed in there like sardines. If those sites were all just drive-through and you had either end, it'd be fine, but the fact you have to unhook your car, lots of information, big pamphlet, site map and that sort of thing with on arrival. No, I suppose if you're going to go to a caravan park you should do your own research, but first time in a caravan park with a van, the office told me I had to back in and leave it hooked up. While I was unhooking, one of the helpful staff that buzz around on golf carts said, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't," because I went all the way back so the bull bar wasn't hanging out on the road. He said, "No, you can't, back of the van can't go past the power box." Didn't know that. Okay, yep, no worries. And I pulled forward. I said, "What about the nose?" He said, "Oh no, just do what the others doing, just park sideways." So I hook back up, drive forward 2 or 3 feet till he says right, and then reverse hard right hand down to jackknife to get the front of the car to come around. He's walked up and looked at me weird and he's gone, "You're going to unhook it, aren't you?" And I'm like, "No, the office told me not to." So I was trying to figure out how I was going to fit in this little 4 metre spot with a bloody 10 metre long van and car hook up. It's like, nah, unhook it and park up here beside your van on the pad. So my ignorance of caravan parks has probably made that an amusing tale for him in the coffee shop. This bloody Victorian doesn't know how to park a caravan. Anyway, so yeah, having the whole communal showers, toilets, that sort of thing, it all felt very army without the yelling. So there was a bit of PSD there by the time I went to bed. But on the plus side, I did hook up the power. That was the main thing I wanted to be there for, to fully charge the batteries, hook the water up. I didn't take water on just because I'm still full in the rear tank and the front tank's only just gone down a quarter, so don't want all the extra weight when I don't need it. I'm booked in at Range View Caravan Park in Port Pirie tonight, so again, powered site, they'll have a shower block there. And I'll save me water for the Flinders. What else is there? I think that's about it. They said quiet times from 10 o'clock to 8 a.m. I did see one car hook up a van and go at about 7:05. It was a lot quieter. It was a petrol Kia or something that was towing that van, so I had kids in tents within a foot of the side of the van, so I thought I'll wait until people start waking up, and they were up pretty quick anyway, so I had a coffee and got into it. But anyway, I've got 2 things to do in Renmark. There's a big W here. I'm going in. I need a broom for sweeping off around the door, and there's a Mitre 10 next door. I need a bottle jack. So they're our two things we're looking for today. So anyway, again, talkie over. I'll be back if there's something of interest, or I'll show you some footage along the way anyway. So be back soon, guys. So that was Morgan. South Australia is continuing to surprise me. I was expecting, especially along the Murray Near, I was expecting green grass, fields, farmland. If I was to compare it to anything I've been or seen before, Lytton Ridge and Mei, just that scrubby mallee brush, some trees here and there wherever there might be a water source, and not just red soil, but red soil and a lot of white rock just scattered amongst it. You might be able to see it along that greater furrow there, but it is just reminding me of Mei. And the Murray River's just there, 200 metres behind me, and then you got this here. It is a complete different reality. Even Morgan, I've seen Morgan red mark on the map. Of course it looks green around it because they're surrounded by national parks and reserves and stuff, and that's just the colour they use on maps to shade that sort of area. But I was expecting Renmark and Morgan that to be like all Wodonga, just green hills, some nice big river red gums. Well, they're only on the riverbank, they don't come beyond it. I didn't see any in town whatsoever. But that was not a planned stop. I was there for about 40 minutes, went into the gift shop and got some stickers, stubby holder, the old paddle steamer there. You can pause the video on any of that information board. I just filmed it and kept on going. I didn't even read it myself, but I think the original boat burnt down, and all they had was the original base, the keel, that they built back up into that paddle steamer that's there now. When I was at Carrathool, I don't know if I mentioned it back then, we googled it, 1856, the paddle steamers first ventured up the Murrumbidgee River to Carrathool and onwards to Wagga and Gundagai. I never knew they got as far as Gundagai. That's a 700-mile trip or something. It's a very big run up river. Of course, back then, before all the dams and that were put in that would prevent us doing it now, but I was hoping to get back to Echuca and visit the paddle steamer wharf and all that there, but not on this trip. We'll be doing that another trip, I think. We'll just play out the final day, Anzac Day. I was going to go from the Flinders back across to Broken Hill. Now, the current forecast weather-wise is rain, 80% chance of 1 to 5 mil Friday at afternoon into the evening. So if it's going to rain, you're not going to get that good sunset over Monday lookout. You're going to be out in the sand and the mud. It's not worth it. We'll keep an eye on it. We might come back to Echuca or something and stay there tonight. It's a little bit closer to home. We'll see. The final leg of the trip is not locked in at this point, I'll just say that. So anyway, that's Morgan. Again, just like the typical outback towns, small, your basic necessities, fuel, a couple of pubs there looking over the river. That'd be quite an atmosphere, and a lot of sort of sand and stone buildings, like big sandstone bricks and that. Just stuff that was built to last back in the day. Even homes that are now abandoned there still, well, maybe apart from some wood rot or termites getting into the timbers, you'd probably be able to move back into them. But anyway, we're going to progress north-west. Before we get too far too, I'll spin this camera around. I don't know if you're going to pick them up. I'll have to wait until we actually get under them. Coming up through the Hay Plains, there's crews, they're doing a massive power contract extending these power lines here that go to the South Australian border to Wentworth and then onwards to Balranald and to Wagga. 700 kilometres of power line, single tower power line going through. You might be able to start seeing them coming in over here, but I think at Wentworth is the main camp for the construction crew, and there's something like 480 staff or people staying at that camp just to build these transmission lines. And you think 700 k's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 14 cables, or 14 lines that go. So yeah, 7 times 14. That's a lot of wire, a lot of cable. But we'll spin you around here now that we're next to it. Try and no, you're probably not going to see it. Oh, there you go. So yeah, them towers. And when I left Hay, I've just seen them on the horizon almost the entire way across until we got to Mildura, and as soon as we got this side of Renmark, boom, we're following them again. Some towers built, some towers half built. Some places where roads go between towers, they've got the cables strung up already, just utilising quiet times. But yeah, back on the road. That's the view of what we got ahead of us. Just flat, open ground. Yeah. Zoom that back out. Don't need to see us up that close. Oh, back out the window. There we go. So yeah, we are progressing west, leaving Morgan behind now. I don't think we're going to see anything else or much more of interest until we get to Port Pirie, which is where our destination is for tonight. I booked a caravan site there. It's just for ease, and it's a lot smaller site than what that Big 4 was in Renmark, so it should be a lot quieter. But we'll see how that goes. I'm probably going to be horribly mistaken. Oh, this is a big wide brown land we have here. one thing I really wanted to do while I was in Port Pirie, and it was definitely on the list of why I wanted to come past here and not just stay here. Stories of the Road Museum, Truck, Bus, General Transport Museum, and yeah, well, it looks it from the outside, everything else. So let's go have a look in there. I'm probably not going to talk too much. I'm just going to show you what stuff is. There's no point making the video longer by me rambling about something, and I'll probably get the truck model wrong or whatever and get all the hate. But let's go check it out. was special. The truck stuff and all that, fantastic. There's a hell of a lot in the show. A lot of dolls, a lot of china. Remind me a lot of the reuse centre or the tender centres and that sort of stuff you get near landfill. Saving every little bit of thing. Teaspoon collections, matchbox and all that I understand, but yeah. Anyway, no, that was good to get in and see that. $10 entry, even though it says on the gate 15. Don't know, maybe because it's a Tuesday. It was sometime money off or later in the day, but I won't recommend a lot of things on this trip to you, but I do recommend that it's all volunteer-run organisation, trying to get sponsors and that sort of thing. And I can't believe I missed the museum signs out the front. The address points to one of the gateways just past the main entrance, so I had to do a U-turn there and come back to it. Just keep that in mind for next time. I should have asked them if that old Dodge was for sale. The vacuum truck, it would have been quite handy out at me. I searching for Opal out there. That would have come from Port Pirie, I'd imagine. But a little bit of rail history in there, not a lot. Mainly to the South Australian stuff, which I've got next to no knowledge of whatsoever. So it was good having a little bit of a read up on that on the boards. I think I've got to turn here. They don't advertise it coming this way, but Irvine's Transport. Port Pirie itself, it's a weird setup. Obviously a port town. You got big grain silos in the middle of town and everything's built around it really, even access to the water itself. Train lines in and out. I just seen a road train go down the main drag, so he must be going into that port at the end. I think it's all grain. It looks like it's grain. The road train going in there was grain tippers on. I'm guessing that's what gets exported out of Port Pirie. But funnily enough, this water pipe's still here, and we've followed it all the way from Renmark. Obviously, I can only assume pumping fresh water from the Murray River to here being a coastal town. There's a couple of spots along the way. It's just simple ball valves sticking out the side of it here and there. So it wouldn't be gas or something like that. There'd be more. Come out to greater soon, better times. It'd be more enclosed and locked up and that sort of stuff to stop someone sabotaging it. But yeah, I wanted to get this caravan park up here, and it's just 6 minutes into town. And if I didn't have food planned tonight, or a cook-up planned tonight, Domino's is just there. It's the only time I'm going to be able to get it on the trip, but it won't be this time. I'll have to get it when I get home. So we'll spin him around here for a second. You'll see, I'll get the drone up later, we're right on the edge of the Flinders Rangers, the southern Flinders Rangers here. We've got this massive mountain range here behind where we're staying. It should look pretty spectacular at sunset. There's not a cloud in the sky. We'll see if we can get the drone up and send it out over there a little bit. There is an aerodrome here somewhere. I got a warning about it when I was flying over the Stories of the Road Museum, so I might just have to Google that as well and see where that actually is. I couldn't imagine it being that way because it's water. But then it warned me, normally if you're near airports or something like that, it'll automatically land itself and tell you can't fly there. But anyway, that's it for Port Pirie. We are going to head back to our base camp and wait until you check this caravan park out. It's something right out of Route 66, I swear. Rightio, something quick and easy tonight. When you're travelling, it doesn't all have to be steak and chips or whatever else. Go to the fridge. When we're at Carrathool, we done up a nice lamb roast, so we have some leftover here that I squandered from the leftovers bin. We need a pot. Should have thought about that earlier. Bang, bang, clatter, clatter. A simple little pot. Do we need some light? We'll get some light on here. Alright, see how that goes. That's a little bit better. Alright, so we're just going to dice this stuff up in some chunks. We're just doing a stew. I have pretty much 99.9% of the food I've brought on this trip is either frozen already, i.e. the stew that I've got, which I've got a stew I've done for the trip. I've also got a couple of the cry freeze stuff from the Dotchy Hill, the lamb shanks. I've still got a couple of serves of that left, so I've got a couple of them in there. We might do that tomorrow night in the Flinders, some lamb shanks in the Flinders. But tonight we're just dicing up what's left over these roast veggies. I've got pasta, I've got rice, I've got a bag of spuds in there to boost these meals up a little bit. As you'll see in a minute from the drone footage, as we end the day out, we are right next to the Port Augusta Highway, which is great for sound. But anyway, yeah, as I said, the only thing that's in this fridge here now is I resupplied today in Renmark with, I think I've got 200 grams of ham. I've got my wraps. I've got some bag salad there. I've got another little smaller bag salad that I picked up today, just for stopping the side of the road. 5 minutes, you can make a ham salad wrap up. We might do it tomorrow and put it on the screen, but very quick and easy, and a hell of a lot less, or hell of a lot cheaper than your dirty chook or whatever else. So as another road train comes past. B double with an extra B on the back. There's so many combinations, I don't know what's what. Even though it's a beef stew, we've got some pork here we're cutting up as well. And then we're just going to warm this up a little bit, then put the stew bag in, which you'll see in a minute. But yeah, as I said, the fridge in the car, that's just all frozen and beverage. And this fridge is basically just lunchtime food. And technically, I've done that because if I haven't got solar on the van working at the moment, and if I lose the ability to charge the van, at least I can turn this fridge off and put the stuff in the fridge in the car. There's room, so that's our diced veg and stuff. We'll get it on the burner. Get some gas on here. I do need a new piezo because that is not working properly. A little bit of fat in that, so we might go fatty. Got our trusty spoon. Drip cloth, sizzling straight away. Might just add a little bit of water to that. Because the stew was pretty saucy when I made it extra saucy, so that way you can add water to it. It's going to be frozen, so there's going to be water in it anyway. So we're basically just going to warm that up a little bit. Woof. Puppy dogs. Then we'll add some stuff to it. Cut open our lovely cryovac beef stew. Went a little bit overboard with the wine in this one, so it does have quite a Merlot taste. Throw them in the bin. Oh, Mr. Mosquito, welcome back. Haven't seen another one. Really? Let's go and put some pants on. The mozzies are out. Lovely. While that's going, we are going to add a bit of salt, a little bit of cracked pepper to it as well. Alright, a little bit more cracked pepper to it. Ah well, the smell. Just going to defrost that bit a little bit more. And we'll be ready to serve. We are done. Oh. Yummo. Yum, 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 yum. Oh. Quick and easy. That took me about 15 minutes. Just reheating some of them roast veggies. Trying to do a food segment here, please. That stew I done up a couple of weeks before we left for the trip. Slow cooker beef, all your veggies. It could be on toast. I could have done it in jaffles. So many different ways we could have done this, but this is how we're doing it tonight. So, anyway. Even though it's got dark, we'll end out the day with the drone in the air. You'll see where we are here on Route 66 and Port Pirie off where the sun is setting and the start of the Flinders Rangers behind us. 200 and something k's later tomorrow, and we're going to be deep in the Flinders, and I cannot wait. Season 1. Thanks guys for coming on the trip, part 1 of the Flinders Track, where we've travelled across New South Wales and into South Australia, venturing further west than I've ever gone before. But now, as we enjoy these western sunsets, we'll be back soon in another video for part 2 of the Flinders Trek, where we go from Port Pirie up to Port Augusta, onto Hawker, and then into Brackena Gorge and the Flinders Rangers proper. I can't wait to finish off the trip with yous. It is going to be a longer video. There's a lot more beautiful countryside to see along the way, and a little bit more cooking to do as well. So thanks guys, like, subscribe, all that good gear, and I'll be back shortly with part 2 of the Flinders Trek. Bye guys.